My daughter-in-law asked me to make a shot glass display cabinet for her father. First I had to figure out what the size of a shot glass was. We decided to make 5 rows, 5 wide, of typical shot glass dimensions, and 1 row at the bottom that was a little bit taller. So we jumped on over to SketchUp and created a mock-up design using typical dimensional pine for the frame and 1/4-inch plywood for the dividers and the back. And this is what it looks like in SketchUp. I had to test out how to make the dados for the 1/4-inch plywood and found out that my dado set measures exactly 1/4 inch at its smallest, while the plywood is not exactly 1/4 inch but is smaller than that. So I was left doing this technique using a single blade, nudging the fence over, and continuing to make the cut and sneaking up until the 1/4-inch plywood fit perfectly. I cut the sides and then the top and bottom together, in other words in double width, and put the dados through them, then rip them to the appropriate width so the dados matched exactly. I then put the frame together with simple butt joints and glue because I was going to reinforce it with dowels later on. I let the glue dry with the horizontal dividers in, and then it was time to start measuring where our half flaps were going to go. I put the horizontal dividers in, placed the vertical divider over it, and measured where the half flap would end up falling. I've transferred that mark up a little bit higher, placed an auxiliary fence onto our miter gauge, set the blade at half the width of the divider, and then gradually snuck up again on the true width of the 1/4-inch plywood. After cutting one, transferred the marks to the other dividers and finished all the other cuts. We followed a pretty similar procedure for the horizontal dividers by placing them in and then putting the already half-lapped vertical divider in place and marking. And that's the dry fit. I wanted to use dowels to reinforce the corners and have them be visualized from the outside for a little contrast, so used a handheld drill guide, put tape on the appropriate size drill at the correct depth, and then put 2 dowel holes at each corner to be centered on the middle of each side. I cut the dowels to a little bit longer than I needed, put a little bit of glue on them, and gave them a little bit of encouragement. I then cut those flush, and the case was complete. Lots of sanding. I used a simple roundover bit on all the external edges of the frame. And more sanding. And now we're ready to make it look nice. The dividers in the back are all going to be a gray paint, and the frame is going to be stained. So we started with this pre-stained conditioner from Varathane. It's a simple wipe-on process and very easy to do. Then we wiped on a dark walnut stain. And we even used a small brush to get the very superficial part of the front of the dados to make sure that no bare wood poked through. We painted all the dividers and the back, and then used this water-based poly finish for all the parts. We attached the back with a little bit of glue and some brad nails, and that definitely solidified the frame. And then it was time for final assembly. It was a fairly snug fit, so I had to use this piece of wood to protect the finish, but pretty much pound them in. Didn't use any glue for that, and that's our finished product. Let us know at Dr. Hacksaw if there's anything you're thinking of, for gift or for yourself. Happy to talk about it with you.